If you're tired of playing Kaisas and Master Yi, but more importantly Kaisas all across your locals, look no further. We have a budget mono yellow Victor deck that surprisingly does very well against Kaisa and all the other matchups. I went 2-1-1 at Magic Stronghold, 2 wins both against Kaisa, tied against Timo Mundo, almost beat it but we ran out of time, and we were very close to beating Master Yi. We went 2-1 against Master Yi. This budget deck actually works. We've got a Riftbound community where we talk about all things Riftbound. Discord link in the description down below. Let's jump into the deck list. Here's the deck list. We're playing the Victor Legend ability, Herald of Arcane. You may tap 1 and play 1 recruit unit token. We're playing the Yellow Victor Leader. When another non-recruit unit you control dies, play a 1 might recruit unit token into your base. For battlefields, we're playing Trifarian Warcamp. Units here have +1 might. We're playing the Bandle Tree. You may hide an additional card here. We're playing the Dreaming Tree. The first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here each turn, you draw 1. For gear, we're playing a single copy of Seal of Unity. This adds 1 yellow power. For units, we play a copy of Blastcone Fae in our main deck. When you play me, give a unit -2 this turn, and also a minimum 1, and it's also a hidden card as well. We're playing 3 copies of Watchful Sentry. When this unit dies, draw 1 card. We're also playing 3 copies of Soaring Scout. When this card dies, channel 1 Rune Exhausted. We're playing 3 Ravenbloom Student. When you play a spell, give me +1 might this turn. We're playing 3 copies of Cruel Patron. As an additional cost to play me, kill a friendly unit. We're playing 3 copies of Machine Evangel. Play 3 1 might recruit unit tokens into your base. For spells, we are running 3 copies of Stupefy. Give a unit -1 this turn to a minimum of 1. Draw 1 card. We're playing 3 copies of Retreat. Return a friendly unit to its owner's hand. Its owner's channel 1 Rune Exhausted. We play 3 copies of Call of the Week. Each player kills 1 of their units. We're playing 3 copies of Hidden Blade. You can kill a unit at a battlefield. Its controller draws 2. And this is also a hidden card. 2 copies of Consult the Past. Draw 2. Also a hidden card. 2 copies of Imperial Decree. When any unit takes damage this turn, kill it. We're playing 3 copies of Grand Stratagem. Give friendly units +5 this turn. And we're also playing my favorite card of this deck, 3 copies of Divine Judgment. Each player chooses 2 units, 2 gears, 2 runes, and 2 cards in their hands. Recycle the rest. For side deck, we are playing 2 copies of Blastcone Fae. Same thing, when you play me, give a unit -2 this turn to a minimum of 1. We're playing 3 copies of Sprite Call. Play a ready 3 might Sprite unit token with temporary. Playing 2 copies of Vengeance, kill a unit. And we're playing 1 copy of Facebreaker. And for runes, if it wasn't self-explanatory enough, mono yellow, all order. Let's start off with battlefields. The reason why we play Dreaming Tree the first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell, each turn you draw a card. The reason why we play this is because we run a lot of spells that target. We can use Stupefy to play it on our units to draw 2 cards. We can use retreats to target units like our Victor, have it move in safely and return it back to our base, channeling a rune and keeping it safe. We also have cards like Hidden Blade, we can hide it at the Dreaming Tree. And if our unit might die, we can always use the Hidden Blade to target ourselves, to draw 2, and then draw 1 more with the Dreaming Tree. So we can get a lot of card draws. Not only that though, we also have cards like Blastcone Fey, where we can hide it at here, targeting itself, giving it a +1 draw. So that's also attack. The reason why we play Battle Tree, pretty self-explanatory. We have a lot of cards that we want to hide. We have Blastcone Fey as something that we can hide. We have our Hidden Blades as cards that we can hide. We have our Consult the Pass to hide. And in our side deck, we also have a copy of Facebreaker. So a lot of cards that we can hide here. Last but not least, Trifarium War Camp. Units here have +1 might. This includes attacker. The reason why it's so strong is pretty self-explanatory. We get a lot of tokens through our legend ability. We have Machine Evangel, which gives us a lot of tokens, and we also have our Victor, also helping us to get tokens. So this is just an overall really good battlefield for swarm units. So the main win condition. Obviously, everyone knows with Victor, the main win condition is to play grand stratagem and get to 6 points really quickly and overwhelm your opponent. But why do we play also 3 copies of Divine Judgment? Let's quickly explain why. Victor's biggest counter are typically these 3 cards that are really profound in the meta. 1,000, Tailed Watcher, Icathian Rain, Deadbloom Predator. Icathian Rain is really good at blowing up your board, and when your board gets blown up, there's almost little you can do. If Icathian Rain hits on you, your Grand Stratagem becomes completely useless because you have no board to play it. How do you deal with Icathian Rain? Well, you play Divine Judgment before Icathian Rain can land. When you play Divine Judgment, your opponent can only keep 2 cards in their hand. And if they decide to keep 1,000 Tailed Watcher and Icathian Rain in their hand, your opponent is almost trolling. The reason being is once Divine Judgment resolves, they will only have 2 runes available to play. Obviously, when you pass over, they will get 4 runes. But for them to get to 1,000 Tail or Icathian Rain, they have to wait 2 more turns on top of that to get to the necessary runes available. So they have to wait 3 turns to play these. So more often than not, if you play Divine Judgment on your turn, your opponent will more than likely have to get rid of these 2 cards. So that's one way to deal with it. Another way to deal with just Icathian Rain in general is having very annoying cards to deal with, like Machine Evangel. When you play this dies, this plays 3 units. Icathian Rain has to hit this twice, and then you still spawn 3 units and refreshes your board. The deck makes it so that there are never really any good targets for Icathian Rain to hit, because even if we have, say, Victor, Machine Evangel on board, we always still have access to our cards like Retreat to be able to keep our Victor alive. 1,000 Tailed Watcher is very strong in most decks that run blue, especially in Kaisa, but the funny thing is that all our units essentially have no attack, save for a few card, which is Cruel Patron. This is one of the few cards that are as big that it can hit, but for the most part, 1,000 Tailed Watcher never really gets its full value because we never have any units that are really that big that it can deal with. Outside of Cruel Patron and outside of Machine Evangel, everything else is very small, so making this a low value card for your opponent. Deadbloom Predator, with the same thought process as Divine Judgment. The turn you play Divine Judgment, your opponent will more likely not keep Deadbloom in their hand, because if they do, they are really trolling. They have to wait 3 turns before they can play this out. So your opponent will have to pitch this. But even if Deadbloom is placed onto a battlefield, we always have ways to get over it. Cards like Grand Stratagem, as well as Victor's fun combination of side cards like Imperial Decree, Hidden Blade, Call of the Week, and if we still can't get rid of it, our side deck of Vengeance to be able to just get rid of it in a single pop. Outside of the main strategy of playing Grand Stratagem and winning the game from 6 points, this deck has a really unique win condition that I really enjoy. So let's just say we are on turn 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runes available. And let's just say we have a bunch of cards in our hand. Let's just pretend for a second that we have, let's just say for a second, let's just pretend we have these 4 cards in our hand right now with Divine Judgment. So with 7 runes available and 2 units on our base, what do we do? What I would do is I would move a unit here into the Bandle tree as an example. I would get a point. I would then exhaust all 7 of these first, floating it, creating runes, or creating energy, and then I would recycle 1 card to play either Consult the Past, Blastcone Fae, or Hidden Blade at the Bandle tree. I would recycle 1 more, same thing, play for example Consult the Past here, and then I would play Divine Judgment onto the board. Well, let's recycle these 2 runes first, and I would play Divine Judgment, and because I only have 2 cards in hand, I would just keep these 2 cards, but if I had more cards in hand, I'd recycle them. And then what would happen is I would resolve Divine Judgment, put away all my runes except for 2, and now what happens is, even though I've gone down in resources, I still have 2 hidden cards available to be played at this battlefield later to replenish resources to my hand, and that's why we play Bandledry. And the moment we play this, our opponent has to get rid of their massive cards in their hand. So cards like Deadbloom Predator, Thousand Tail Watcher, or Cathian Rain, these cards cannot be kept in people's hands, because if they keep these 2 cards in their hand against a Kaisa player, they will only be top decking. And they only have 2 runes available, technically 4, going to their turn. It's very punishing for this deck because it makes it super impossible for them to keep this if Divine Judgment resolves. Last but not least, Sideboard. So Sideboard is really interesting. I personally like the way that I've sideboard things, but you may sideboard however you see fit with this deck. So with the sideboard, I have 3 Sprite Calls, 2 Vengeance, a Facebreaker, and 2 Blastcone Faes. The 2 Blastcone Faes, I usually will add those in if I am going to be playing the Bandle tree with Facebreaker. However, I only want to be playing with the Bandle tree in addition with Sprite Call. The reason why we have Sprite Call is because specifically with the Kaisa matchup, playing this on turn 2 feels really bad because the Kaisa opponent can essentially get rid of this card very easily with, well, this card, Falling Star. If we play Cruel Patron on 2, or we play even Victor on 2, Kaisa has Falling Star, which will blow this up, and it can blow this up, which feels really bad. I personally like to get rid of the Cruel Patrons and put in Sprite Calls against Kaisa players. The Sprite Call comes in ready, and you can move it in and attack into a battlefield, getting a point. And it's also very annoying for a opponent to deal with because there's a 3 Might Sprite on the board, and this also does not take a power. Not only that though, you can always hide this at a battlefield, flipping it to reveal it to your opponent, making your opponent have to like really think about it. So I like to sub out my Cruel Patrons if I'm going against the Kaisa matchup, because this card is a little bit too inefficient, because it gets absolutely blown up to Falling Star. But Strike Call, I like it. Takes a point, prevents your opponent from taking a battlefield, or they have to waste resources on it, and then we always have a one might recruit token moving in later. So I really like this card. Facebreaker, a single copy of Facebreaker just to be really annoying to the opponent. This one is something that surprises the opponent quite a bit. They never expect this, and they will loosey-goosey move their units in thinking they have the conquer, but we play Facebreaker, we stun them out, and it's another, but a really good way of cheating out a point. This is really good to side into Master Yi, because the moment Master Yi takes over a battlefield, it's actually super painful. This stalls them out by one turn, giving you a much needed extra point. We have 2 copies of Vengeance. The 2 copies of Vengeance are for very big annoying units. So say Dead Bloom Predator, if they hit, it's almost impossible to get rid of, we play this. If you needed a little bit extra removal, Dr. Mundo, if it gets really big, you can also play this, so it's really good. We do technically have a lot of removal spells with like Grand Stratagem, Hidden Blade, as well as Imperial Decrees. We do have a lot of removal in the deck, but if we need a little bit more, we can always tech in just the Vengeances just to make it so that it's a little bit easier. Mono yellow budget victor deck. It's a very strong deck. It can deal with quite a bit of the strategies out there. Outside of obviously using Grand Stratagem to be able to win the game, we always have access to cards like Divine Judgment to be able to make it so that cards like a Cathian Rain, Thousand Tail Watcher, Dead Bloom, if I can grab it, there we go, Dead Bloom Predator, doesn't become a threat, because if you get rid of all their runes, their hands, they literally have nothing they can do. This is more on the budget side of the deck, because if we want to play a proper Victor deck, we would be running 3 copies of Thousand Tailed, and we also would be running more seals. Unfortunately, in this deck specifically, to keep it a little bit more budget friendly, I only run 1 seal, and I think the most expensive card in this deck is this. Everything else is basically a buck or 2, with the exception of, well, the yellow Victor leader, but that's besides the point. If you guys like these types of videos, let me know down in the description down below. We have a Riftbound community. We talk about all things Riftbound. Discord link in the description down below. John Panio signing out. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section down below. We'll see you guys until next time. Bye for now.